the amount of people saying that's terrible, we get it, we hear it, that most definitely, and the people that make these decisions are the ones that are going to hear about that loud and clear, and we'll see where it goes from there. But as it stands right now, the route is what it is. We don't expect people to be overjoyed about the fact that it's less than we were talking about before. Mr. JMB says, but why the had to? Everything we develop, every route we develop, every Loco we develop has a set of resources put against it to get it developed. So that is how much developer time can we allot to that route, based on everything that we have to accomplish as a company. How much time can we assign to it? And from time to time, we will assign extra hours, extra development onto a route or onto a Loco in order to get it delivered. But in this case, we're not talking about, oh, it's an extra week or an extra 2 weeks. It's more likely to be an extra 2-3 months to execute on everything that we want to do. And we simply don't have the resources to do that, because by funneling them into a project like this, it means we have to push them back on the other stuff that we have to do as well. So it's regrettable, but that's the decision that's been made.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a sort of a good point there, Sam, in that a lot of people are saying, why not just delay it? Why not just delay the German route? And I think there is a certain logic that comes to that, but I think also there is a kind of a business reality sometimes that certain things just are out of the scope of what we originally put into the project, and it feels like at this stage it's like ripping off the band-aid, isn't it? It's kind of that, okay, we have to make a decision on whether we go for trying to do all of this stuff and doing it probably not very well, or we try and do it in a way which is we do really well with the things that we do put together.
There's good comments coming up from the chat, and this is stuff that I've seen multiple times, is that what about the resources versus value brought in, says Munda. And yeah, absolutely, if the German route doesn't sell as a result of the scope having changed, then there'll be a long hard look at why that's happened. Equally, that why do we have a limited number of resources? Because the developers have to work on other stuff. We've got other stuff we've got to do. It's not a case of we can release one update a year and then put our feet up for the rest of the year. That all the time for all the developers is set, and unfortunately that leaves very little flexibility with regards to going extra over what we originally intended to do. Now we've dialed back from the original scope that we set out, but again, we always scale back from original scope. The issue here is we spoke about it too soon. This should be the stream where we announce what the routes are, not 3 months ago where we had no details, no screenshots, and we were working off a half planned out, a mostly planned out optimistic spec. I'm not misrepresenting the situation there, am I, Matt?
No. I mean, it was there was at the point we announced it. We believed it was achievable. We had plans in place that said it was deliverable, and essentially, as you actually get in and you roll your sleeves up and you start working on it, there's some of you uncover some harsh realities. One of which we were aware of, but not quite to the depth of it, is that this Rush Hour is the product. It delivers just shy of 90 stations in total, and the team have never built that many stations in even a remotely similar time period. So, and then it turned out that things like the airport branch, for example, having an underground station on it, which required light baking, is weeks and weeks of work to build something like that. So a lot of this stuff added up very quickly, and so yeah, that was where the estimates were wrong. And as they started being corrected and sort of like, well, this is actually probably closer to reality, that's when sort of this dawning reality of, okay, we need to make some decisions here, folks.
Yeah, and sometimes the sad reality is that some of those decisions are quite difficult ones, and I don't think
difficult doesn't even begin to describe it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where you know that this isn't. I mean, I think as soon as we all heard internally, we knew that it wasn't going to be something that was taken, a decision that was taken lightly, but I think it was something that was done with the intentions of making sure that what we could achieve with the route was a high quality route for what we could do. So I think that's pretty much. I'm sure there are going to be other questions that come in over the course of the next however long we decide. I think we said we try and stay here for as long as we possibly could. We probably limit to a couple of hours tonight, and we try and get through as many questions as we could. We've taken a load from the from you guys beforehand, and I've got them all on a sheet here. We're going to try and get through as many as we possibly can do about all of these different things. We want to try and show you a couple of bits as well, so we'll perhaps come back to this a little bit later on. We might sort of punctuate a couple of the other parts of the stream with more questions.
It is worth saying that that's not, yep, the branches are gone, topic closed, you've had an answer. No, don't. It's not going to go away. This is not something that the community are going to stop talking about.
No, of course not.
They're going to keep at it, and should do as well, because this is the kind of thing that gets the level of attention needed to make some changes possibly. Again, as it stands right now, what it is what it is. But your feedback is absolutely vital. And there you go. So it's not something we wanted to cut, but there is just no way of making the time work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So just following on from that, sort of on a slight tangent, Matt, are you able to confirm the rush hour routes in their entirety, please? Because I know there was perhaps a little bit of confusion with a couple of routes as to what is and what isn't included.
Yeah. So the Riesa Dresden route is, as everyone's aware now, the route from Riesa to Dresden, including the little spur off up to Grosenheim, and it's got the two different lines, the bypass line and the normal line. The chemical plant at Nunkritz is there as well. There's a couple of odd sidings and facilities along the way, but the 363 will be working in Nunkritz, I think it is. So that's the Riesa Dresden route. It doesn't include the massive yard just to the west of Dresden. But what else is there? So the London Brighton line is London to Brighton, London Victoria via East Croydon to Brighton via Gatwick. And then at Red Hill, there's then a little tiny spur off to Reigate that would be just a huge shame not to include, because a whole ton of southern services actually terminate there and go back the other way again. And given it's only a mile, that was achievable. One station.
Matt, is your mic properly unmuted on the stream? Because I hear you coming through fine.
Yeah.
But the stream is having difficulty.
Okay, I think there's a lot of noise on my end, so I've actually had to put a noise filter on so that it wasn't drowning everybody out. Let me turn that off while I'm talking now, because I think that's probably clipping me.
It's worth noting that we are all in various different rooms that are probably about 30 degrees right now, so we've all got fans going on in the background as well. So if you do hear any ambient noise, then please bear with us.
Yeah.
It is very warm.
So can everyone hear me okay now? I'll just get a quick check to make sure you can hear me all right. The background noise will be there now, but when I stop talking, I'll close that off again.
Sounds like you're all right.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so London Brighton via East Croydon to and Gatwick to Brighton, and including the Reigate line. Again, it was only a tiny little thing, one station, one simple station. So it was there was never any doubt about that. Does not go to London Bridge, just to be really clear. Does not go to London Bridge. That would be a massive undertaking to go from East Croydon to London Bridge. So we are doing Victoria to Brighton. And that's with the Gatwick Express services and Southern services as well. There are questions later on about timetable, so I'll leave those for later on rather than spoiling them now. And the last one then is the Boston to Providence line, which goes from Boston to Providence. It does not go to Wickford, I think it is, 2 stations further down, but 26 miles or something later. It goes Boston to Providence, and it also includes Canton Junction, the branch line out to Stoughton. which is 2 stations again. It's just a little short 4-mile branch line from via Canton Central, and then to Stoughton. And then at Canton Junction, you've got this big bridge, which is a really popular rail fan location in the real world. So there's that. And then south of Boston, you've got Southampton Yard, which includes the balloon loop that the Amtrak trains reversed and turned themselves in. And you've got the depots where the trains do their facilities. They're just south of the depot. There's the sidings and maintenance facility there. That's the extent of the routes.
I know Nat was particularly excited about the balloon loop.
The balloon loop's awesome. I mean, it's really slow, but it's really the idea that it's easier to reverse a train around that big loop than it is to just put another loco on the other end, which is the reality. It is easier to do that. Is interesting. So it's one of the things I like about the shoot. It's interesting. It's unusual. There's not many places that do something like that. There's no cab cars, so they don't run the cab cars on north of New York. So they kind of have to turn the train around.
Cool. Okay. And just quickly,
worth noting that we'll have individual streams with Q&As ahead of each route.
Yeah.
Moreover, and this needs spelling out as well, if you're on the fence, because we've staggered the release of the 3 routes, you were about to say this, JD?
I was just about to say, yeah.
Go,
you go.
I'm not licking your thunder, I promise.
This is such a polite British stream.
No, go on.
We will be doing, of course, live streams for everything. If you are on the fence about any of this stuff, and you would like to see it in action, of course we will, as we do for all of our routes, we'll be showing them off at least once, hopefully more than once, before they go on sale, or the season ticket goes on sale. So the idea is that we will be showcasing them all for you to take a look at. You can ask your questions, you can kind of drill us as much as you possibly want to about anything and everything that you would like to know about those individual routes. I think at this point, I wanted to talk about so that those opportunities will be there for the really kind of minutiae questions that a lot of people are asking in the chat. We're not ignoring them, don't worry, but they're probably something that's probably better suited for one of those live streams further down the line. I want to talk about naming, because
before you go for naming, I was just going to say, and because these are staggered releases, the season pass is remaining on sale even after all 3 are out.
Yep.
There are currently no plans to stop selling the season pass up until the end of 2021. It may even still be on sale after 2021. You'll get a heads up about it. So if you're on the fence about whether you want one route or maybe no routes, or maybe you want the season pass, or I don't know, you can wait until all 3 are out and then pick up the season pass.
Yep.
Season ticket, that's what we're calling it.
Very salient point.
It's a season pass, whatever.
Yeah, we don't. It's not. But just while we're on the topic of the season ticket, it is not a subscription. I saw a few people a little bit confused about what it entailed. It's not a subscription model. It's just a one-off chunk of payment, which you don't have to pay for anything else. You just get those 3 routes when they're released, as soon as they're released, or you can buy them individually, as Sam alluded to earlier, if you would like.
So the choice is you can buy it up front, and then as each of the 3 routes comes out, you get that automatically. Or you can buy it at any point and you get all 3 routes, or you can buy the routes individually, but the season ticket is a little bit cheaper than buying them individually.
Yeah, and I know that we've got our friendly mods in the chat today. If they are able to link the FAQs in the chat, for those people that are a little bit confused about what season ticket entails, all of the information is in the FAQs. Just give it a read, and hopefully that will clear it up for you.
Swiss Let's Play has just asked, is the season pass always valid? Yeah, after you've bought it, you have the rights to all 3 routes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about naming. Obviously, we've taken a slightly different naming convention than we have done for a lot of previous routes, apart from maybe something like the likes of Rapid Transit, where we've decided to focus more on the operational side of things rather than the actual name of the route. I don't know who the right person to ask this question to is.
I've got it.
Yeah, you got it, Sam? Okay, so Sam, why have we decided to kind of take this particular path for the naming of this particular set of routes?
Well, it's because we've got evidence based on stuff that we've released before that that routes that are named on what they represent rather than the brutal specific. So you know, a German commuter rather than Hamburg Lübeck is way more popular to people that don't know the area. It's more interesting. It gathers more people to actually have a look at it, even though to an expert level player, they would rather have a granular title. This is not. I've seen some speculation that we've changed these routes to have buzzy names so that we could subtly change what was in them. No, that's not the reason for doing it. We found historically that the routes that have specialist sounding names perform better than the ones that tell you what it is. So there you go. I mean, look, I didn't say it was a good answer, or a sexy answer, but that is the reason we've done it.
Cool. Let's take a little bit of a different tact. So for everybody who's on this stream, which of the routes are you most looking forward to? I know, again, we'll probably go into this question a little bit more when we talk about them in more detail later down the line. But Matt, which one are you looking forward to most?
Oh, that's really difficult because I'm having fun with all of them. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know. There's no bias in why I'm saying this. Just saying, but I'm really looking forward to the Dresden route because I really love driving the German trains, and I know this one's looking really good. Lots of variety. So Dresden for me.
Sam?
No idea. I'm a complete neutral. I play absolutely everything we do, and I enjoy pretty much all of it. So I am the least critical person to ask when it comes to, you know, what a preferred route to look forward to is.
I'm looking forward to Boston myself. That's one that I've got my eye on, and the balloon loop I'm looking forward to trying myself. We'll have to get that into the 4-up challenge at some point. Okay, so how long does it? So this is from Trainiac. Good name, by the way. How long does it normally take the team to come up with the theme for a big core update such as Rush Hour? Is it something that is brainstormed within an inch of its life, or is it something that is very much an organic process? Matt, you're probably the best person to come to for this one.
Sometimes you just hit on the right thing, and everyone sort of actually this feels right. Sometimes it takes longer. I mean, last year was leaned more towards the kind of like the high speed was more of a theme we want to set up. Clearly Bakerloo line and Sampats grade weren't really high speed, but so that one really didn't have a theme as such, but we introduced that high speed theme for some of the DLCs to go with it. This time around, Rush Hour was more, well, looking at the things that we want to do, the experience you get, actually the passengers being weak, not having had any attention. Felt like, well, actually, no. Why don't we do something about that? Make everything feel busier, and that sort of then naturally funnels you down towards this idea of when do you get more passengers? Rush Hour, and then when as soon as you combine more passengers, you get more trains, and actually it creates a more interesting experience. Anyway.
So it's like a butterfly effect almost.
It is kind of. Sometimes we can be sitting there back and forth for ages, and then sometimes it's just what about this? This seems like a natural thing to do, and it iterates itself closer and closer to something more firm. So it varies wildly.
It's feature led primarily. So I mean, when we did TSW2, the feature that we really wanted to embed in was high speed, because up to that point there'd been optimization work that needed doing, and high speed hadn't been present yet. So it felt like a natural kind of match-up to put those two together. This time around, we've known for a while. In fact, we still know that the passengers need work, that they're not behaving as well as you'd like, and therefore putting passengers as a kind of a feature focus then leads itself to suggest the routes that might go well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody has asked about what do the passengers do that are different. Hold that thought. Passengers we'll be talking about soon. We won't be talking about them in any detail tonight, but we will be perhaps talking about them in a future
we want
article.
to show at the same time as we tell.
Show,
yeah,
yes,
definitely.
yes. And we had a little preview of some of the stuff today, and it looks really good. some of the stuff that is going on. So I will leave you on that cliffhanger, that very evil cliffhanger for when we talk about it in a bit more detail. Okay, let's talk season pass. So we've answered a couple of these questions already over the course of the discussion, but what made it? So this is from Alex M30X, rolls off the tongue. What made you want to have the season pass? I'll go to Matt with that one. I don't know if that's something that is something you feel particularly interested about.
That's not really a me question. That was more a marketing type question. So,
well, I'll go to Sam then as our stand-in de facto.
I'm the business.
Yeah.
Great. Why have we gone to season pass? Needed more time. The end. That's it. We need more time to do a decent job on the 3 routes that we want to deliver, and we didn't want to go. If we'd waited until all 3 were ready, then it would be a better part of 6-month gap between one release and the next release, which would be the big one. And the way that routes are put together, they don't all happen at the same time. One gets done, and then we roll part of the team onto the next one while some are remaining on bug fixing, and then we roll them forward as well. So there will be an order of march in stuff being ready to rock and roll. So the simple truth is, the reason it's a season pass is we wanted more time to get the routes done, but we didn't want to wait in order to be able to push them out.
Yeah, and there are obviously challenges as well with launching 3 routes at the same time as well. Not necessarily just from a practical perspective of making sure that everything is set up and ready to go. Obviously, the risk is higher as well, I suppose. But also the fact is that it's very much more. And we were talking about some of the kind of community challenges as well, that we would sort of like, how do we make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to see everything before we launch it as well, and where we've got all of the builds coming in at a very similar time. And yeah, it was becoming quite a challenge on that front as well, I think. So it feels like this is a really natural, or much more natural way of doing it, much more kind of suited, I think, to the way that we go about things more regularly anyway.
Yeah, so it gives the team more time to just get the routes to where they want to, and give them a bit more focus rather than just trying to be madly working on all 3 at the same time, which was, again, I guess is probably one of the more ambitious dev plans we've had, and we've learned some lessons, this is the end result.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be worth answering the hot questions again. I told you, they always turn up late, even on the exciting streams.
I know.
Hot topic number 1: why the increase in price? Because we've increased the amount of time that we're working on the release, and therefore it's to cover the extra time that's involved there. Why have we removed the branch lines from the Riesa Dresden route? Is because they fell outside the scope of what could be accomplished within the time allowed for the development of that route. I don't know. There's a more full answer at the start of the stream. We answered those first. We'll answer them again. It's not an answer that's designed to make you happy or go, oh, well, that's okay then. That's the reason. That's the reason that this has changed, is because we spoke about it too soon. We should not have mentioned it when we did, because we spoke about it when the scope for the project was still a little bit speculative, and we should have held it back. Changing the price is purely because we're taking more time to get these done.
Yeah. So people are talking about when can they get season ticket as well. Just going back to season ticket, that will be. I think you can wish list it now if you want to on Steam. If you're that way inclined. If you want to wait a little bit longer, that's absolutely fine. But they should be available from whenever we launch the first route, which is the Boston Providence route. The Boston Commuter. I've got the wait a minute. I need to work
Boston
on my
Sprinter.
terminology. Boston Sprinter. There we go. I'm mixing up my routes, and I really need to have my crib sheet in front of me so that I don't make any faux pas like that again. Will the season pass include the base game, or will new players have to buy the base game plus the Rush Hour season pass? I think that's what the deluxe package is all about, to be honest with you. I think looking at the deluxe package, which again, if you want more information about, is on the FAQs. There is a deluxe package which will get you the base game, it'll get you the Colnarken, it'll get you the Sandpatch Grade, Bakerloo routes, and it'll also get you the Rush Hour routes as well. So you can look at that as well.
It will give you the whole of TSW2 and the whole of TSW2 Rush Hour.
Yes. Yeah. Without the add-on content.
Without the myriad other releases as well.
Yeah. Will it be permanently available? Yes. Not permanently. We're not committing to that, but it will be for a significant amount of time. Yeah, significant amount of time. And can we expect it will be eventually discounted in future sales? Again, I don't think we can commit to that, but I mean, we have yeah.
That one has to fall under don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we have current plans in the near future.
Here's the thing: is that look, you might decide, okay, the season pass would be great if it was a bit cheaper. You would be gambling on are they going to discount the price or not, because at the moment we don't know.
Yep.
The price discounting is often decided on as much on, do we want to sell a whole bunch more of these right now? And that's the decision that won't be made until it's been out for a couple of months at least.
Yeah. A couple of people asking about the gap between releases. I think at this stage we have to be quite vague on that. But I mean, it won't be months and months and months. It will be, I mean, how long is a piece of string to a certain extent? We've got kind of tentative dates on our end, but as I say, we at the moment, we're not going to sort of publish those publicly for reasons hopefully you'll be aware of at this stage, bearing in mind the discussions that we've already had over the course of this live stream. There's a couple of questions about why not delaying Rush Hour to autumn. Again, I think we've touched on this already in terms of the time that's been allocated to various different routes and various different projects, and that then has knock-on impacts on everything else that we would be working on. Let's talk about. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through and I'm trying to make sure I don't ask the same questions again. How are we planning?
People are always keen on hearing the answer again.
Okay, well, all right then. Let's go with Joe. Well, let's not mince our words here. Jolo Jonas Games. Do you realise you've disappointed a large section of the community? How are you planning on regaining their trust?
Well, that's just it. That's your trust to award. You have to be able to trust what we say, fundamentally. This was a messaging screw up, utter messaging screw up. If we hadn't announced Rush Hour when we did, and we hadn't announced the price and what the routes contained when we did, and now was the time that we were announcing all of this stuff for the first time, we'd have had a few grumbles about, oh, season pass, don't like that much, or, oh, that's a little bit more expensive than you usually sell it for, or, oh, I'm not so keen on that German route, it doesn't feel that great. But that would be it. We wouldn't have changed anything. We would be going out in a de facto position of what is. But instead, we've moved the goalposts, and therefore it makes us look bad. And that's a learning exercise. It's a straightforward learning exercise. Is we don't talk about it until it's ready to be talked about. Yeah. Now, in terms of how do we rebuild trust? By doing better, by not making the same mistakes again, by improving consistency, all these things. We believe and we hope that what we're making with Rush Hour is solid and that you're going to have a lot of fun with it. And hopefully those of you who try it out will, that'll be a thing that turns you around or keeps you on board. But what we can't do is we can't change what's happened. We can't change what's already occurred, and while there is an argument being made by the community, good strong argument at that, for take much longer to do the German route and include all the branches. That's a decision for the bean counters. Yeah. They're the ones who have to say we are prepared to drop an extra route that we were going to do this year in order to have the dev team work on that, and that is above my pay grade. It's above everybody's pay grade in this room.
I think as well, we talk about things like live streams like this, I think, is really good to have honest conversations about things as well. And hopefully, I know a few people in the chat have noted already they've kind of appreciated some of the frankness that, which we've approached some of these questions. And hopefully, again, that gives you a little bit of an indication that this is something that we're taking seriously. It's not something that we are trying to swipe under the carpet. We are having these serious discussions internally as well. It's not something that we're just paying lip service to. So there is a desire to, we want to give, at the end of the day, we want to give you the best experience that we can do. You are the players of this game. You are the people who, let's face it, pay our paychecks, and we want to try and make sure that you have the best possible experience. And of course, we want to try and do the best by you, and that will never change. We do always strive to do that, and sometimes we hit the mark, sometimes we don't. But we want to try and be the best that we can be, and we want to be proud of everything that we put out. And that's that. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, and we want to try and learn from everything that we do.
Yeah, that's just it. Craig says, are DTG looking to expand the development team to help produce routes in the future? We are always hiring. Always, constantly hiring. I don't know if the Dovetail Games /jobs or /careers or something like that. If you go to dovetailgames.com, go to the jobs page. If you want to come help us, we're hiring. Always.
Yep.
Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Yeah.
We very much appreciate it. It's great getting new people on board. So definitely, as Sam says, go and have a look at the careers site, and come and join us.
Fresh people, fresh ideas, always great to have new people around. So one of the things we haven't touched on, I don't think, is the new German loco that's been added to, or new German livery that's been added to the German part of the package, the Riesa Dresden route. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about what is going to be included? Because I think it was kind of put into a roadmap a couple of weeks ago. Some people noticed it, some people didn't. It got a little bit of a mention yesterday. So what can we say about it?
So when we initially announced the Dresden route, one of the things we noted, looking at a lot of the feedback on there, was a lot of people saying, will I be able to use the 363 on this route? What will there be in the way of shunting services and so forth? And there was, quite a few people asking for that stuff. So we had to look at it and thought, well, we can make sure we add stuff for it so that if you bought the 363, you can use it. But actually, would we be better off just putting the 363 in the pack? Is that just an option we could consider here? And so we looked around and we realised that we could actually do it in a different livery. It's got a few subtle model changes on it, nothing particularly earth-shattering, but the most noticeable one is the guardrails are different, but there's lots of other little detail changes, and obviously the livery is different. And then put it in the pack, so it's it's part of the pack. It's used in one scenario, it's used in some services, it means that you've got those, you've got the switching, shunting services there, and that train in the pack. So. It's quite a fun little addition. I think it looks really nice in the blue livery, actually, with the red wheels.
I saw a picture of it today. It does look very good, actually. I'm very, I'm not going to say pleasantly surprised, but I didn't think it would look as kind of good as it did when you showed me the screenshot earlier, Matt.
The art team did a good job on it.
Absolutely. Okay, so just on German route again. Will we be able to use the other locos on Riesa Dresden, i.e. the BR112, BR143, 185.2, 182, MRCE, etc., when we've got the add-ons?
Right, so at this very moment, I asked actually, so when I saw this question in the sheet, I went and had a chat with the engineer working on the timetable, and substitution has not yet been set up on the timetable. So as of this second, there is no substitution on that timetable, but he's going to go and do a pass. But I'll confirm what it does and doesn't do. When it doesn't do it. What I can say is that the IC and ICE services are in there. So you will be able to use there's a layer added for the BR101, and there's another layer added in for the it's actually the 406, the ICE 3M, which is not really the ideal type of train to use. It's really ICETs that run on this route, but it means that you can run the ICE TAR services as well. So those ones are already done. So once the timetable is balanced and working properly, then they'll go and add in all the substitution stuff, and then I'll be able to tell you what all the other trains are that you'll be able to use on it is. But as of right now, nothing.
Yeah, and again, we'll stress this again. We will be doing individual streams on all of these routes, so we can go into the finer details in all of them in the coming weeks. So that will be when we'll get the opportunity to showcase all of these bits and pieces. Just finally on Rush Hour for the time being, we might come back to it a little bit later. So in terms of the obviously this is a passenger route primarily. So are we looking to continue that kind of passenger trend in the routes after Rush Hour, or will we be looking to kind of inject a slightly more different variety of content?
I mean, we always look to do variety of content. I mean, the Rush Hour pack is a themed pack, but there's a lot of variety. Railway enthusiasts like lots of different things, and just as we have been, we'll be continuing to explore some different types of content as well to appeal to different interests. So no, this doesn't mean we're just going to be doing commuter routes from now on.
Cool. Okay, Nat is our question deliverer for today. She's chucking some into our Teams chat as we're speaking, so I'm trying to filter them as we're going through, but she'll keep on adding them to them, and we'll come to them as and when we get them. So thanks very much for your questions. Keep chucking them into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can. Okay, let's talk about Epic.
Hang on, one more thing. This is a good one.
One more thing.
No, purely because we should always answer the fighty questions. The fighty questions are vital to answer. Keltho Ravenwing asks, every project, most of the projects at DTG get reduced in scope. Does this mean we're not supposed to trust you at all then? Very good question. No, that's not the point. The point is we shouldn't be talking about it before the scope is locked. Everything gets reduced in scope, but that's because every developer loves working on the game. Those who don't love working on the game leave the company. Those who do love working on the game, they love working on the game. Matt works all hours of the day because, well, he's an idiot, but also because he loves this beast. And the point is that when we talk about doing a new route, the devs are immediately off, doing a flight of fancy. They're almost going, can we do this? And so it gets added to a list of things that we want to add to the route. And then it's beaten into shape, and project managers get into setting out dependencies and Gantt charts and every other project management tool you can think of to figure out, okay, how much can we do in this space of time, and what's the most compelling organization of a route that we can do within the amount of project space that we've got. And that's what I mean by scope shrinkage. And what we shouldn't be doing is talking about that until it's locked, until we've decided that's what we're making, we're going to make that. That's the only time we should start talking about it. And what we did this time is we spoke about it before that scope had been locked.
Okay, related question, Sam, because it was coming up. It was in the AOB questions, but I feel like it's a good opportunity to talk about it. Roadmap. How useful do we feel like it's being? How talking about sort of things that are perhaps either changing in scope or whatever. I know we've had a lot of discussions about, say, the Cornwall route, for instance, and whether it changes, if it gets the scope changes of it. How useful is the roadmap as a kind of a thing for us, really?
Well, I always said when we introduced the roadmap to start with, I said it would take people about 6 months to get it. And it did, and people started getting it after about 6 months. It's been running now for almost a year, so 10 months, 11 months, something like that. It's been running for almost a year, and we've now started to see some business as usual happening on the roadmap, which is stuff moves around, stuff gets delayed, stuff gets put on pause and then not move forward. What it's done is it's shown how the sausages are made, which is a phrase I use way too often, and it's not a pretty sight. Historically, we wouldn't talk about anything that was upcoming until it was pretty much done, and we got asked for more transparency, for greater transparency, and we felt like, you know what, we should talk about things that are much further out, and it will take people a little while to kind of figure out, okay, well, how far away is that, and you know, how long are we talking about there? And that's what the roadmap has done, is it has kind of laid bare how development is not a Swiss clock. It is not something you set your watch by. We put scheduled release dates for absolutely everything that goes onto the roadmap. For all the routes and the locos that go on the roadmap, we know when it's going to come out. We know when it's supposed to come out, and that will then move around over the course of development. So, is it a burden? It's quite a lot of work. I think that more people appreciate its presence, even though what it is demonstrating is that this is quite a complicated beast. Even if it means that those people who've been waiting for the Class 313 for what seems like forever are going like, where is it? Every single week again. Every Tuesday rolls around and they go, I really hope it's moved forward, and then they find out it hasn't again. I get how disappointing that is, but that's not what a roadmap's for. It's not there to get you pumped about something that's new. It's there to let you know, what are we working on? Because if we don't tell you what we're working on, it's very easy to believe nothing. That would be an easy narrative to paint. So it's, there you go. Why did someone seems to think I'm a pensioner for some reason? Which is
I think
fine.
so. I think
Someone
perhaps needs to be
what I say to
muted.
the young individual in question is, it's a school night. You should be in bed. And the mods are going to have you in a couple of minutes anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. But that's the reason. So the roadmap, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We could do away with it quite easily. But I think people would miss it, and I think people would miss seeing a little bit further into the future about, you know, what the bigger plans are. And of late, Matt and I have been certainly a little bit more free and easy about talking about our mythical wish list of things that the dev team would like to introduce.
Yeah,
I think convoluted answer for you, James. So I'll summarise. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really valuable tool as well. I think that there's always refinement. There's always things that need to change. But if nothing else, it hopefully gives people at home who love and kind of are waiting for various different projects an understanding of how development, perhaps in practice, as you say, isn't this Swiss clock, is something that is a little bit rough around the edges sometimes, and we try our best, but there are things that move around, there are things that change. It's what happens in life. Things happen, so I think it gives a good kind of opens the curtain on that to a certain extent. There are always things that we can improve though, and we know that, so we'll keep working at it. Okay, let's talk about Epic, and we'll start with a fighty question because I know that there was one in the chat already. Okay, so why we'll come into Epic and what we're doing on Epic in a second, but why are people on Epic Store getting the game free for Unreal Update, the Unreal Update beforehand? Sorry, I'm just trying to read it verbatim, and I probably should paraphrase. Why are they getting a free week, and why are they getting the 4.26 update before everybody else?
That's me, isn't it?
That is you, Sam.
I'm the bad news fairy, so that's all fine. Okay, so Epic, why are they getting the new version? Oh, okay, firstly, why are they getting it for free? Because Epic said, "Hey guys, how would you like to be on our store? How would you like to be on our store?" And I go, and we went, "Golly gee whiz, that would be great to reach some new people. That would be fantastic. We'd love to be on your store." They go, "We'll give you lots of super promotion as well." And we went, "Whoo, super promotion, fabulous." We went, "Oh yeah, no, we're absolutely all about that." They go, "We'll give you a bit of money in order to make it happen as well." We go, "Crikey, wow, you, the providers of our engine, would really like to promote our game quite a bit." We go, "Yeah, we'll put it out there for free." And we went, "Okay, and give it to people to try and entice them in to use the Epic Store." And we go, like, "Oh, that sounds like a solid business philosophy." And they go, "Well, it seems to be working for us pretty well so far." So there you go. I've put into a story exactly the conversation in, a roundabout kind of a way. Why are they getting it early? Because that was the date we were given. That was our promotion date. That was an intractable promotion date. This was not something that ever lined up with the release of Rush Hour. Of course, we would like to do it at the same time as we do the other platforms. We'd love to. The fact is, that was the promotion date, and it didn't line up. Just didn't line up for us. So why are they getting a newer version? They're not getting the new version. They're getting the latest functional version. And that's because, as Matt will nod his head, Wait for it. Wait till I start talking again, Matt. We don't want to support the old code base. The development team have been working on the new core for a few months now and not really touching the old core. And therefore, it didn't make any sense for us to go back and build all of the necessary store wrappers, which is the gubbins that goes alongside the game itself to make it work on a store, on the old version. It made more sense to lock a version that was still part of the Rush Hour update development and give that to Epic to put out there. So to clarify the free part, it is free for a week and you keep it forever. If you pick it up during that free week, you keep it forever. Doesn't matter if you're an existing player or a new player or whatever, you keep it forever. When the Steam update and the PS4 and the PS5 and the Xbox One and the Xbox One S and the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S versions and the Windows Store version, when all of those other versions rock up, they will synchronize. They'll all be synced. This is not, it's an exclusivity window, but it's not by design an exclusivity window. That is just a factor of timing. So you could, if you play on PC, or even if you don't play on PC, if you've bought it on something else and you've got a laptop kicking around and you fancy giving it a crack, go pick up the free version and use it as a preview for what's coming in the update. They're not getting they're not getting the roots or anything like that. This is just the update.
Yeah, not getting the passenger system either. That's coming with the Rush Hour update as well. I think I have a list of things that will include. We'll go.
We don't have a Windows Store version. I don't know. I thought we did.
The Game Pass Store.
Game Pass.
Xbox,
is that something else? Is it?
The Xbox Store for PC is where you'll go. It's the equivalent of the.
You bunch of jokers with your 86 different stores.
So what it will include is the preservation crew updates to Bakerloo and Colnarken. There's a couple of Cane Creek fixes in there, I believe. Not the full suite that we would like to do, but a couple in there that we were able to get in before the certification period. What you'll be seeing today when Mac does his demo a little bit later down the line. So that's what they'll be getting. They won't be getting the passenger system. They won't be getting the Rush Hour routes. Those will come with the launch of the Boston Sprinter route. Got it right this time around. When we launch that, there will be DLC available. I've got a big old list, but I think there is a list on the FAQs as well if you want to check that. Pretty much most of our recent DLC is on there. If people want to just take a look at that on the FAQs, they're more than welcome to. But if you have it on Steam, it doesn't play well with Epic, so you will have to get it again. It doesn't transfer over between the two games. The two platforms, as Xbox and PlayStation wouldn't play well with each other.
Say that again, slowly, very slowly.
Okay. Epic and Steam will not play nicely together. So everything that you would get, it doesn't transfer over into the Epic Store. So you would have to get everything again on Epic Store. So if you are playing on Steam currently, you want to try it out on Epic, great, fantastic on the free week, brilliant. You're probably best off going back to Steam afterwards because you have all of your progress and everything like that on that platform. Your progress won't transfer over. All of that kind of stuff is limited exclusively to the platform that you are currently playing on. Epic is a complete carte blanche of everything else.
And when it comes to PC, by platform, we mean store. So if you bought it originally from Steam, play only Steam stuff. If you bought it originally from Epic, or you got the free version from Epic, play it only on Epic. They do not talk to each other. No. Anyway, we've got all of that stored in the knowledge base for customer service for the rest of forever. Yeah. I imagine there will be a fair amount of tickets that we do get on that one. But please just bear in mind that, as with most other things that are competing against each other, they would not like to be able to. It makes no commercial sense for them to be able to transfer things they would have been spending on that platform to the other platform. So just if you're playing on Steam, keep playing on Steam. Is essentially what we're saying. If you want to try this new stuff on Epic, great, but then just switch back to Steam afterwards. Okay, I think we've covered quite a lot of Epic. So I wanted to again, I don't think we've referenced this actually as of yet. Our wonderful backdrop.
for the stream today, and this is going to kind of be our showcase part of the live stream. We're going to talk a little bit about the 426 builds. So this is what Epic players will be able to see when this launches next Thursday, and obviously everybody else when it launches with the Boston Sprinter route. But we wanted to showcase what all of the kind of the immersion features that we were talking about on Tuesday. We wanted to showcase the new menu screens and give you a little bit of a view of what we've been working on. So Matt, this is your time to shine. Take it away. I don't know if you wanted to get rid of our face cams and just be able to just.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, let me get rid of the face cameras. If I can use the right mouse, that would be much better. Right, hopefully the face camera's gone. You can still hear me. Right, so I want to just make a bit of housekeeping. First of all, this is not an Epic build. This is actually a Steam build. There's no other reason than it looks like we're having some Cloudflare issues with Epic, so I couldn't start the build, whereas Steam build started. So here we are. It looks the same, works the same, so there's no practical difference. But just to be completely upfront, this is Steam build. And I'm going to be driving this with the controller just because it will help later on when I show you the immersion stuff. So this is the new route selection screen. And the kind of focus on the route selection screen has been to, make it more pictorial, make it more visual, and also bring the operators out to the fore. Previously, we brought the flags up and made it about lands, whereas the phrase we've been using internally is brands, not lands. So it's about I want to drive DB or an MRC or ScotRail or something. So you can cycle through the routes and you can see how the brands are represented on the bars there.
Could you do us a quick whip through at top speed so people can see how fast you can whip through? Because that's something I've said is that it doesn't look very quick to be able to scout through the different routes, but it's not sluggish, is it?
No, it's not sluggish at all. And also you can bring up this. I'm pressing the wrong button, that's why it's not working. You can bring up this filter. So if what you want is DB routes, I can press this filter button, press back in, now it only shows DB routes. So you can customize that down, take the filters off and get back to the original list. So if you know that what you want to drive is Union Pacific, for example, you can go ahead, find Union Pacific and come out, and there you go, there's just Union Pacific content. So you can make that list also tailored down to just what you want to see.
I didn't know that was the thing, Matt. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was added. But one of the things it was added from playtesting. Actually, the beta team were looking at this and going, "Oh, this is hard work." So I added this filter in there, which again has got all the operators in there, and it tells you how many routes there are in each one at the bottom there as well, so you know what you're going to do, and you can select multiple. So you can click DB and MRCE, if I do it right. And you'll just get the one, you'll get DBC or MRCE there, so you can select multiple combinations there.
Who's the dude who stands in the bottom corner?
So this is your player profile character, so when you first boot the game up, if you create a brand new profile, one of the things you do is set up your character. One of the things we wanted to do is do more with that character. You really rarely see it, to be honest, unless you happen to look back in your train while you're driving. And we go to this effort of making these uniforms. So what we do here is we put in the character in the corner here, showing the uniform that the driver, engineer, operator will use when they're operating that train. So it just adds a little bit more flavour to what you're going to be doing when you're driving that one.
Is it also possible to filter by country?
Not at this point, no. It's not something we're looking at the moment, although we've kind of built this filter screen so that later on, if we want to, we can think about adding more types of filters. So, whether it's by country or by types of motive power or something like that. But at this point, we'll be shipping it just with the filter by train operator.
Cool.
So, let me go into Bakerloo line. Where are you? Somewhere down here. There it is. So, you'll have to forgive, again, dev build, and we're in the middle of revamping the diorama. So there's, imagine the sounds of excavators and hammers while someone's working on that. So there will be a background image here with so the diorama's being redone and will be quite different to what we've had previously. But it's not there yet. In some of the screens it might pop up, but that'll be different. So this is again the same menu options. They've just been pushed around and squeezed around, and one of the things we've done is tried to build some more localized information into the buttons. So for example, when the continue journey has the description of what you're going to do, if you press that into in the button, the explore button has the statistics about walking, driving and timetable services in there. Tools menu. Go on,
Just
sorry.
a quickie, Matt. Sorry to jump in.
That's fine.
What resolution are you currently playing at?
Should be 1080. I think it's running full
Okay.
screen.
Just a comment that the text looks a little on the small side. So we had quite a lot of feedback with TSW2 that for those who like to play on a television, say for example because they're using I don't know, a console, that some of the text was a little hard to read.
Yeah, we have gone through the whole thing and bumped the text size up in a lot of places, but we clearly missed that one. So if you can make a note of that and send that one to me after the stream,
Betcha.
I will forward that on to the UI designers, because yeah, I've been trying to get everybody into a mantra of don't think about this as you're looking at the TV, the monitor in front of you. Think about it as you're looking at the TV 6 feet away from you, and you have to think about it differently then. So yeah, this one's clearly missed that pass.
Matt, sorry, just before you get on a roll again, I think this will touch on a couple of times that we might talk about this sort of thing, but in terms of accessibility as well, I think that this is something that we are focusing quite a lot on with this particular new core update. Some bigger buttons, some slightly bigger buttons, bigger fonts, color blindness, bits and pieces. I think there's a desire for us to make it more accessible for a larger group of rail enthusiasts, which I think is great. But it'd be really great, I think, when you're going through it, Matt, to highlight some of those areas when we're going
totally,
through it
yeah.
as well.
Once a lot of the changes are when we actually get in. I mean, I wouldn't say we've gone to great extents at this point on this. We've tried to do some tweaks and changes, and indeed, one member from the forum got in touch with me and talked about the little dot in the middle. And we've made direct change as a result of that conversation with him as well. So if you're watching, thank you very much. Really appreciate the dialogue that we had there. So I'll cover that stuff once we get in the cab. There is more that we want to do from an accessibility perspective, but this is a step forward in some fairly notable ways once you actually get driving, I think. So let's just go into here. Effectively, these UIs are just reskinned versions of what we had previously. You'll notice that we tidied up the medals, so instead of showing all the medals, it just shows you the one that you've got, or a blank one effectively if you don't have one yet. And the same for these. So it's you've got it's a tidier display on that one. Explore. Again, you've got some statistics in the actual buttons themselves in terms of what you can do there. So if I just go into timetable, no, we've changed the timetable screen a bit so that you can choose. You've got a bit more refinement control over what you actually can set this thing to be, and then apply a weather pattern to it. But then you've still got the sliders, so that you can dial up the wetness or dial down the wetness, do what you want to. So it's similar to what's been there before, but it's just tidied up a little bit, and also giving you instead of previously what you had was you would have like autumn light rain and summer clear and things like that. So now you have the month, and is separate now from the weather, so you can pick those, which gives you a little bit more granularity of what's going on there. So if I go into here. The actual picker service screen hasn't changed. This is fundamentally the same. This will have the diorama is darker than this, which is why it's kind of blown out a little bit at the moment. So I'm going to pick just a Harrow and Wealdstone service just to get in the train. That'll do.
Just Matt, just a question that came up whilst that's loading. Does the temperature impact anything at all? Will it have a different driving experience at all?
So temperature fundamentally affects precipitation.
Okay.
So if it's below 0 degrees, there's two things it now affects actually, but the second thing won't apply until the full rush hour releases. So the first thing is below 0 degrees, precipitation changes from rain to snow. And if you want snow to stay on the ground, then the temperature needs to be below 0. If you want, and above 0, when you turn the precipitation slider up, it will be raining instead. Obviously, snow is much worse adhesion than rain. So that's kind of where the difference in driving experience comes. Once full rush hour launch, we're starting with the Boston route, then the temperature controls what the clothes they're being worn are. So below about 12 degrees, they wear winter clothes now. Above about 12 degrees, they will be variably wearing a mix of winter clothes and summer clothes, and then above a certain temperature, they're just wearing summer clothes.
Presumably, if I'm playing in America, I can switch to Fahrenheit because that's how I like it.
Yeah, there's a setting in the game. I'll come back to describe.
Sorry, no. I'll take your word for it. You promised that now, so that's a thing.
So temperature units here, you can choose Celsius, Fahrenheit, or automatic. And then that will follow that for the route.
Kelvin.
No, you can't do it in Kelvin. No, sorry. Anyway, so right, we're in the cab now, and as you can see, Track IR is working. It's great. Track IR is fine when you're driving, but also when you're walking around. You can look around as you're walking.
Can you show your face?
It might be worth proving that you've got your magic science lozenge on your forehead.
My 3 lights.
Not least of all because you'll look like an idiot.
My Borg lasers. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Hello.
Well, we can't see because you've got cat ears all over. Well, actually, this is a good demonstration. The Track IR is not actually a heavyweight piece of kit.
No, it's a tiny little thing. It's just 3 lights. It's just this little black thing on the side of my headset. There's a webcam on top of the PC, special webcam which only receives infrared, and it's just looking for these 3 lights, little LEDs. It uses that to work out where I am, and it's full, so I can move forward. I move the microphone, so I can move forward, move back, move up, move down. A bit more harder.
And it's PC only at the moment, yes?
Yeah, Track IR only exists on the PC.
That's fancy. I like the head tilt.
Its full 6 degrees of freedom has been implemented in the game, so you can chuck your head out and do head out if you want to as well. But it's quite handy because you can stick your head out, look around behind you. You get a bit more freedom with what's going on, and it just feels a bit more natural. Now, it does initially. If you're not sure about, if you never used Track IR before, then the immediate sort of thought on that is, but if you look left, you're not looking at the monitor anymore. How is this fun? And it's because Track IR multiplies it up. So I moved my head a little bit, and it's moved it quite a lot more. I think it's on about a double, so I'm moving 45 degrees, probably not even 45 degrees actually, and I'm getting a 90-degree turn on the head. And I can very comfortably see what's going on the screen at that point. This is not spread over 3 monitors, it's just running on the one in front of me. Looking down, looking up, again, it's fine.
All right, no, that's enough. You've had enough time showing a thing that is a plaything for PC users only. One of the comments that came up, though, was, have you got a slightly broader field of view now?
No, field of view hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed at all?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Looks broader to me as well. I saw the comment. I went, yeah, maybe it is. But no, if it isn't, it isn't.
Not aware of it. I'll check with the team and see if someone sneaked a change in. But no, I'm not aware of any change on the field of view. We have had discussions about it, but they haven't gone anywhere as far as I'm aware. So,
Matt, I don't know if it's worth talking about in this stream, or if it's something we save a little bit further down the line. But obviously, we've just talked about something that the PC users would love to know. I know there are a few console bits and pieces as well that we were talking about in the Immersion article that might be helpful to go over at this stage. But I don't know if it's worth doing if you can't demo them right now, or if it's something that's perhaps better saved for another live stream.
No. I can. You mean which bits are you talking about?
The immersion controls.
Yeah, so that's what I'm using. I'm using my controller,
okay,
I can cover that off. So, so when you burn to the pause, you've got the control guide over here, which gives you the controls immediately accessible. And we've added the operations shift to the system, and we've added the camera shift, which is that one. Sorry. To there, so this is all immediately accessible, and then there's also a HUD guide here just to remind you what's going on. Now, you veteran players, this is not going to be particularly useful for you, but for a lot of newcomers, this is a really great reminder, and it's just really easy to get to. We've added the map so that you can see where it is, and there's place names on the map as well. There's the schedule, which was always there, and then the message log again, which was always there. It's just been revamped. Immersion control. So talk about one of those accessibility things first. You'll notice I have a donut cursor. Which
cameras again, please.
Kill the face cams.
Kill the cameras.
Nobody needs to see this.
Right, so this is the donut camera, and this is actually the thing that came out of the conversation with one of the forum users. And actually, you'll notice if I don't move the camera around for very long, it makes the cursor go away. So thank you, Sam. That was Sam's idea, that one, and a very good one it is too.
Oh, it's one of several.
But the idea of the donut cursor is that. So the discussion I had with the forum users, apologies, I can't remember your name, was that we changed the cursor by default to. I will change it now so you can see the difference. And this is now setting in here. This is new. This wasn't previously settable in here, so you can now do this. So this was the default cursor, was the little grey dot, which is semi-transparent. And we did that because everyone thought, the cursor keeps getting in the way, it's a bit of a pain. And of course that's when Sam said, why not make it just go away then? And everyone said, oh, yeah, okay. So in TSW 2020, that was a bright white cursor. Now, it's always been possible on PC to use a control number key combination to cycle that, but that's of absolutely no use to console users whatsoever. So we've added the settings option in now so that you can choose whether or not it's the, scroll down, there it is, 50%, 100%, which is solid white, or large, which is the donut cursor. And then the idea was that we wanted something even larger, so I failed to save those settings, well done me, even larger than the dot at 100%, which would, right, there you go, there's the donut. So we wanted something even larger, but then by the time you get to sort of large, it starts actually covering up what you're wanting to do, whereas this actually doesn't get in the way at all. It's quite handy. So it's really visible, and it will also then turn itself off. And the turning itself off is also a setting. So if you don't like it turning itself off, I believe it's under controls, auto hide crosshair there down the bottom. So if you don't like it, you can leave it to where the previous behaviour, but the default behaviour is with it turned on. So that's that change. The numbers in the top left, the times, have been increased in size. The 275 yards, their distance to the next objective, that's been increased in size. Right, in terms of other things for immersion controls, we've got, so if I press the, click the right stick, it defaults. Excellent. Not right now, it doesn't apparently. Let's get moving. Presumably something getting in the way of the camera. So that when you click the right stick, it will now default to a head-out view, but it's not the head-out view that you're expecting. Doesn't like it at all here. No. Don't know why it's getting upset about that. So the idea is it defaults it to a head-out view, which would be stuck outside the window. But then you can fly around. So as I go in that, it's still a version 3 camera, so I can still fly around. I'm not stuck in actual head-out view, which is sort of about there somewhere. Let's put the brakes on before we get in trouble. Make an absolute masterful stop here. And then open the doors. Right, this is it. Head out view.
I see, Matt.
Sorry?
Said prepping for the 4-up challenge,
Absolutely.
I see.
So this is it. Now if I press the button, I'm getting the head out view, and I can move around, but I can fly the camera around, so I'm not actually stuck in that location. And what it means is that it's at a a good location, particularly, for example, if I've got track IR on, let me reactivate it.
So, paraphrasing, Matt, does this mean that we now have parity in camera options for console and PC players?
Yeah, so what I can do now using the camera shift, as I'm outside here, so this is the 3 camera still, but I can now use camera shift and left here, I can now access the other cameras. This left D-pad, I can access the other cameras, which you couldn't do previously. And then from back from the cab seat, if I go outside, I can now access, using the right D-pad, exterior cameras, which would include the 8 camera, for example, and the other various external cameras. This is the boom camera. Go back inside again. So wherever you are, you can always click the stick to just get back in the cab again, so where you're driving, so you don't get lost in the cameras at all. So that makes life quite easy. I'm trying to think. There's two whistles. By using the operation shift, you can click the stick or shift to click the stick to get the other one. Another sought after function that people have asked for a lot is the ability to zoom when you're external camera, which you can now do using, again, camera shift. And so it's the I've got the cameras up. Camera shift is the press and hold the right stick and then just use the left stick to do that. So there's a lot more parity in terms of what you can do between them, and if anything, it's possibly easier on the controller now. But it makes it possible. Other things you can do, I can't really demonstrate on the Bakerloo line train, is your operation shift allows you control over AFB or cruise control on various trains that have got that functionality, so you're not having to reach down for it. On German trains where you've got PCB release and PCB override, those functionality is now available on the D-pad when you're in operation shift, so you've got the full control over PZB effectively from the controller. You're not having to reach down and press the finicky buttons to release it. When you're, particularly PCB release, you're coming out of LZB, you haven't got long to find that release button and click it before it gets upset with you. So you can now access that just with a click on the controller. So there's a lot of really good stuff in the Immersion controller on that front. What else?
Let's talk maps.
Maps.
Yeah. Show me your pause gradient map screen business.
So this,
and walk us through it in a leisurely fashion.
So this is the pause screen, and what this is showing me is upcoming speed limits, of which you can see there's an anomalous little bump there coming up, but there's also further on a small dip. So I got visibility up to, I think it's 10 kilometres, that's 6 miles, I think is why it's showing the 6 there. It's up to about 10 kilometres in front of you of everything that's coming up in the way of speed changes. So where previously in this view you've just got the next one, in the pause screen you've got access to basically loads of them. So it gives you much more visibility on that. And then below that you've then got the gradient profile, so you can see from where I am I've got a gentle downward run until I get to Wembley Central, and then it dips, and that dip is actually where it goes under the West Coast Main Line. So you can see, if you remember driving the route, you'll remember going around that dip, and it is quite a sharp dip. The gradient profile is also quite exaggerated, so that it makes it really clear where all of these grade dips are. So even in reality they might be relatively, it's 1%, 2% at the most. So these gradients, the gradient is sort of stretched so that you can see it more clearly.
Now this is all jolly useful, and it's all fantastically helpful. But now show them the in-game map again, so that we can, we like to build people up and then knock them back down again afterwards. So still no labels on the in-game map.
Still no labels on the in-game map.
So the way you explained it to me that I liked was that the pause screen map is there to help you plan ahead. So you could use it at the start of a journey or midway through, so that you've got a good sense of what's going to come up, rather than using the map in real time as it's moving on, because there's a massive technical challenge in handling the live map. Is that about right?
Yeah, we do want to get more detail into the live map, but yes, that's turning out to be quite difficult because of the way the live map is generated. This is we wanted to get some names in, and actually planning it out in this map is easier.
So this is kind of a step in the right direction of making the live map the way that everybody wants it to be.
Couple of questions, Matt, that I know were slightly hot topics coming out of the article on Tuesday were by taking this element of the gradient profile in particular, is this, by going into this, does this break the immersion as opposed to actually enhancing the immersion? If you're having to come into the pause screen to get this information, does it do something that kind of we perhaps wouldn't want somebody to do in real life? Is there a way that we could make it more kind of integrated within the in-game, the sort of the actual driving experience, or is this kind of again like a V1 of how we would like to kind of progress it in the future?
I think this is, at this point, it becomes a really subjective discussion, because you could argue that having anything other than nothing on the screen is reducing my immersion in what I'm actually doing, which is driving this. So, on the one hand, adding more to the screen is not necessarily a good thing. However, I totally understand what people are saying, that some people would prefer it that way, and stepping out of what's going on in the game for some people is going to break that immersion. For other people, you're pausing the game and you're looking at a bit like as if you were just consulting a clipboard. What I've found through when I've been using this and driving with this is I feel more like I'm consulting something and going back and trying to recall some of the stuff. So that and I can predict what's going on. The next 3 or 4 things are this. Between here and the next station, I've got that coming up. And then, actually, if anything, I'm feeling more immersed in this experience because I'm trying to actually think the way a driver would think. A driver does not have all this stuff on the screen. They can't see all that stuff. They're looking at these gauges. My ideal is to try and get to this. That's not going to happen, and that's not going to be for everybody. But actually, there's cluttering the screen up with too much stuff, and trying to find a way to do that. As an aside, there is also just currently the way that these things are calculated is quite expensive, so we wouldn't be able to do that in a real frame rate. But that's tech, that's a solvable problem in the future. But it's more from when you operate the train and so forth, it's trying to get you into that frame of mind of actually thinking about where you are and what's coming up and so forth. And the pause screen gives you a way to just remember that and then get back into the game without worrying about the fact that the game is still going. So I get that some people want to see the real-time stuff. It's not the direction we're heading at this point.
Yeah,
everybody wants to see the real-time stuff, Matt. Let's not pretend it's anything other than that. Other than the people who've actually got to make it work, because it's really difficult.
Yeah, I think sort of coming onto that as well as customization. I know we've talked about sort of sizes of fonts. We've talked about things on the HUD, things on the UI. Customization, I know, is from previous roles that I've been involved in, is always a bit of a difficult subject to broach, because it looks very simple, but generally it's not simple to do. Is customization something, again, that we'd like to develop as we move forward, or is it something where actually we're very much more of we'd like it to work in this way, and actually we would like people to play ball with it working this way?
It's difficult to be hard and fast on that particular one, because on the one hand you can create something which is so flexibly customizable, then you've not actually delivered a single thing, and that becomes very difficult to test and maintain, because for everything you then want to do, for every new feature that you want to add or bug you want to fix, you've then got to test it against all of those myriad of options. So what it does is it creates a bigger and bigger ball to drag around as you go. So you've got to be really mindful about all the settings that you add and what that brings with it. But flexibility is also important, and allowing people to do what they want is important. So there are some elements of this, for example, that you can already do. So at the moment, for example, it's telling me that my next signal is green, and that's actually more than even TS Classic will do. And if you come into settings here and go down to next signal HUD, next signal aspect, and save that, it now won't show me the next aspect. It'll just show me where the next HUD is. So you can effectively turn bits of the current HUD off, and you can control that. Having a full thing which lets you drag the speedometer around or make your own speedometer and so forth isn't something we're looking at doing. We'd rather just come up with a style for things, but maybe allow you to turn things on and off, as you can do on this one. So, for example, if I'm on the PC, I can turn this thing on and off in the bottom right with Control 5. That's possible currently, and I turn off the score, I think, with one of these control sequences.
Awesome.
So.
Okay, Matt, what else can you show us then?
I'm trying to think what else there is. So we've covered the pause screen, the map. We've looked at everything on the on here.
Should we talk about Bakerloo?
Before you do, has the gradient switch on the UI been fixed?
Yes.
Really?
Really, yes.
Well, that's worth the price of admission alone.
Which is nothing,
You're telling me
because
that
it's all free.
This free update has finally fixed the gradient
Yes, that was
display.
fixed. That was fixed.
Oh, amazing. Well, you can stop the stream now. That's all we need.
Job done. Yes. Right.
Sorry.
I completely
No,
lost my flow.
I'm going to answer while you figure out what you're doing next. There was a really good question that we didn't answer earlier on, which was, but this is completely out of the blue now, is are we going to start doing anything exclusively? Now that we've done this deal with Epic so that we're on their store, is there likely to be exclusive releases here, there and everywhere in the future? And the answer is no. We've got zero plans or intention of being exclusive on anything. Once we're in a position of everything's lined up at the hold on, where do I go?
Where have you gone?
No,
Oh.
Matt, you've broken everything.
Oh.
Matt. Anyway,
Hey,
I'll keep talking. I'm still here, so I'm going to keep talking. No, once everything lines up with the Rush Hour update release, then everything will be in sync from there on in.
Yeah. This is quite a complex one to try and work out what is coming when. And this is why we're trying to do this now, so that we're trying to make sure that everybody has as much visibility on what's going on as possible and what people can expect when. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do with this. So yeah, we're going on the Bakerloo at the moment, Matt, and that's one of the routes which will be in with this core update that's coming to Epic next week, is some of the Bakerloo fixes.
Yeah, so I think on Tuesday Adam covered a load of the fixes that his team has done for Bakerloo, so that'll be wrapped into this update. I can't remember what the list is, so go and have a watch of the stream on Tuesday if you want to get the detail on what has been. His team have been really busy on this route, and these updates have been in the queue now for a while. So it is really, really good to get the output of his team actually out to people. One of the key things that is really good to get out is the speed changing at the front of the train, not the back of the chain, which is good to see. So that was.
So when it comes to the full feature set of the let's say the 426 update, right, and everything that comes along with that. So are we looking at new passengers here?
No.
What slices of update that is coming is represented in what we're looking at now?
So I think about the only thing that's not covered is the new passengers. So this has still got the lower volumes. It hasn't got the new varieties that we've added that we can talk about later on. It does have the animations. So if we just wait for someone to walk down some stairs. Here we go. So we've got some new animations where they actually walk down and up the stairs properly, rather than sliding up and down the stairs. It always looked hysterical. So the new animations are there. They're part of the core. Every route benefits from that once the 426 update rolls out. But the changes for the rest of the passenger side of things, they're applied on a per route basis. And in fact, one of the changes that we've done there is all the changes are actually in core now. So what the per route change is to switch it to look at core, which means that future updates will happen centrally. So that'll make life easier. But we've got to go through all the routes now. Adam is aware of that, and it's on his team's list to go through. It's quite a quick process for each route to do, so he's reviewing that at the moment to see what can be done. But as of the Epic release, the passengers on Bakerloo will be as they were before. Other things that Adam's team has done will be there, but not the new passengers.
Yeah, and just quickly on Adam's stuff. So the stuff he's done on the routes that are available on Epic. So there is a big long list of routes that are available on Epic. The ones which are the ones I think are not included in the Epic launch are West Somerset Railway, My Spessart Barn, and one more, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it's Bakerloo and Colnarken, the couple that they're working on, that you will see within this build that will be launching with Epic.
Yeah.
You won't. Also, East Coast Way,
East
PIS.
Coast Way, that's it. The much sought after PIS.
That will be coming with the bigger launch with everything else that comes with it, because East Coast Way isn't available, I don't believe, on Epic.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
At least at this stage.
How about passengers with inbuilt lighting?
You mean glowy
So
heads?
you'd occasionally get a glowing passenger, and those who have been taken off to the Rapture, are they still present, or are we going to see them gone as well?
So the team, so the glowy heads is more down to lights that are in the world. The team have looked at that. I don't know whether it's fully resolved, but it should be improved. The passengers, the jetpack passengers, have been nothing but an absolute pain. Someone spent about 3 weeks looking into that, and the problem was that they couldn't reliably reproduce it, which was hysterical considering how much it happens when you're not looking at it in a debugger. It's typical though in dev process. You have something which goes wrong frequently. The minute you attach a debugger, the game's on its best behaviour. So that's just how it works, unfortunately. But there are some mitigating steps that have been added, and we are continuing to look at it in the background. And there's some more debug diagnostics going on. So we are still keeping a track on that one. And like I said, there should be some improvement, but I don't think I can claim it fixed yet. No.
Cool. And Matt, just finally on the, I mean, from my questions anyway, graphically, are there any changes that you would see from a player perspective with this core update?
Yeah, so one of the things that we have added, and it's a feature that came, I believe, as part of 4.26, is something called distance field shadows, the shadows only draw out to a certain distance, and it's relatively close. On consoles, it's really close, because drawing shadows is an inherently expensive activity. And as you dial it up, it gets exponentially more expensive as you go out to the distance. Distance field shadows uses memory and pre-calculates stuff. It's almost like light baking, but not. But it effectively does a bunch of pre-calculation when you build the game and stores that in memory when it's running, which means it can show the texture, the shadows, further out without any drop in performance. Now they're an approximation of the shadows, but they do the job nicely. So if you compare what I'm seeing right now with what you'd see in the shipping build, currently the shadows would be closer. And that's in a radius around you, so all of the scenery to the side of you will get a much better ambient occlusion with shadowing, as well as the. Now DFS doesn't apply to everything. This is one of the things that we've been learning as we've been going. This is a new tool for everybody, so you can still see the shadow applying on the rails fairly close to the train, but you can see shadows under gantries, under bridges and things, going much further out. The reason is distance field shadows doesn't support something called a spline, which is effectively a bendy thing in the editor, but it only supports big static objects. Now that's something that we need to figure out what to do. We haven't got that far yet. We're learning as we're going. We're improving it. It's already a significant improvement using DFS than it was, and the good thing is that there's still more places that we can improve how that works and improve the shadows.
And is that coming to consoles as well as PC?
Distance field shadows does not come to Xbox One and PS4. It just doesn't have the RAM available for it. It's always been the trade-off is that extra memory that's required. But it comes to PC on both platforms. It comes to this next-gen Xbox and the next-gen PS5.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. I've got loads of questions from the players around the core bits and pieces. Will the PS5 version of TSW2 require a separate download to the PS4 version already on my PS5?
Yes, it's a separate game.
Yeah. Okay.
When we say separate game, if I own the PS4 version, do I have to buy the PS5 version separately?
No, it's just added as a separate entry, and you just go to the I can't remember how it's on all places, but you go to probably the store and you just download it.
Follow-up question that has an ugly answer that we were talking about earlier. Does my profile transfer across between the two?
As at this moment in time, it does not. So on Xbox, they treat it all as one thing. So yes, your profile it's all done via the cloud and it works fine. On PlayStation, it doesn't, because it's two separate games. The PS5 running on the PS5 version on a PS5 versus the PS4 version on a PS5, they can't see each other's storage. Now, there are possible solutions to that the team are investigating. We don't know where we're going to get to with that. So as at this moment in time, your PS4 save game running on a PS5 is not visible to the PS5 native version of the game.
And if you try it, it will destroy both save games at the moment, which is why more work is ongoing.
Yeah.
That's a big one that I think we're working on behind the scenes, I think.
We definitely appreciate the pain that you're feeling by saying that, but we also don't want to risk damaging your PS4 saves either. So it's we want to make sure it works. So
73A Photography asks, could you not link the profile to the Dovetail Live account? Oh, that's a really smart question that only smart people would ever ask. Unfortunately not at this time.
No, we've had that discussion internally as well. The passenger system will be updated on Colne, Arkin and Bakerloo. Will the PIS on those stations be updated as well, or will we have to wait further from the preservation crew bits and pieces? I suppose I'm not sure we're qualified on this stream to necessarily talk about that. It's probably something that if you watch the stream on Tuesday, you'll get that information on there. I don't have it exactly to hand. I know that PIS was one of the things that's mentioned, but it's worth just double checking from that stream because Adam will have all of the details on that.
I can't remember whether PIS has been added to Colnarcon, so I wouldn't want to make a promise that I can't keep.
Will Southeastern benefit from the upgraded Unreal Engine and stuff in the update? It seems like a very specific question.
So distance field shadows has been applied to every route as part of recooking it as part of 426. So every route in the catalogue benefits from distance field shadows. Passengers, as I say, the animations for walking up and down the stairs applies to every route, but the volumes and variations and so forth, all the other stuff we can talk about on the Boston stream, is something that we have to add on a per route basis, and I can come back to you in a future stream and tell you when that applies on each of the routes.
Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Yep.
What differences are there on current gen consoles? So is there greater performance?
So yes, clearly there'll be better performance. Even if we do nothing, you get better performance on the next gen consoles. But what we want to do is get better fidelity. That's where it's really valuable. And the short answer to that is yes, there is. So what I don't have the exact set of settings. I've taken some screenshots to compare where Series X, for example, because that's what I'm using here, and Xbox One sit, and there's a clear and marked difference between the two in terms of clearer textures. The LODs pull in a lot better and last a lot longer on a Series X. Essentially, the Series X is using close to PC settings. And it's doing so currently at around 45-50 frames per second. So it's pretty stunning, and that's running at 4K resolution as well. So it's really nice to use. We've tested against Series S. Series S is running slightly lower settings, but again is keeping the same sort of frame rate. Now, one of the other things that we're really aware of is, or that become aware of as we've been playing this, is actually if you're used to playing on a Series X now, you might be really keen on keeping that 60 FPS, that magic 60 FPS, or you might be, I've got a powerhouse of a machine. Give me the glorious graphics. So what we're looking at doing, what we're doing at the moment, is adding in a preference in settings, so you can choose beautiful visuals or great frame rate. And the difference visually isn't going to be massive actually. It doesn't require much tweak to get it in settings to get the frame rate up to 60 on the S or the X for that matter. But that's now your choice. You can dial up the visuals and get the best possible visuals, but your frame rate might be 35, 45 frames per second, or cut them down a little bit and you can get a bit more. That's pretty unusual. A lot of console games don't have those kind of settings on there, but when we were playing it we thought actually that might make sense actually, because it does look so good when it's running at full detail.
That's a really great idea actually. I think we were talking about customization earlier. This is a way of being able to customize your kind of experience within the game as well, which is great.
Just to illustrate, are you running on a dev build this evening, Matt, or subpar hardware? Because we're getting some juddering, and your frame
this
rate is not what we're used to.
No, this is dev build. This is my laptop. My streaming PC died. My gaming PC is not working very well. The heat is not having a great impact on the machines in this room. So at the very last minute, I was switching everything over, and I'm running all the streaming software and the game, which is a dev build, all running on my laptop. So it's not an ideal environment in the slightest. I'm quite
far from powerful enough hardware running under heat while streaming.
Yeah.
On a dev build.
On a dev build. It's a bad situation.
Okay. Not too bad then. That's not too shabby for me, I don't think.
No.
Okay, so will rail driver support for all of the routes. It says the question from Rusty Rails is rail driver support going to be available for all locos? I know that Adam's team again were working on a list of locos for it to be working on. Again, please check the the roadmap stream from Tuesday. I'm sure they would have talked about it there.
Yeah, they did, and it's not. They have added it to quite a range. You know, there's a big boost in the number of supported locos, but it's still not all of them.
Yeah.
For those asking about Scenario Planner and Livery Designer, we'll talk about those on Tuesday as part of roadmap, because they're only in planning at the moment, and therefore we'll go into some of the things that we're discussing changing on them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we are coming into the kind of the final stretch. We've finished talking about the 426 update. Just to clarify with everybody again, this is coming to Epic on next Thursday, and what will be included is the preservation updates to Bakerloo, Colne Arkin. There's a couple of Cane Creek fixes in there as well. It will include all of the features outlined in this live stream, apart from we haven't featured it, but passengers and the rush hour routes. So that will be included as of next Thursday. If you want a full list, it's in the Epic article on our website, so make sure you take a look at that. So quite a lot of bits and pieces. Sam, you look like you want to add something.
I've got some throw-in. I've got some throw-in, and that is to kind of summarise. Well, it's an answer to several questions all at once, and that is. So, for example, there are some looping train sounds that haven't gone fixed for a while, and then there's passenger information screens that aren't on some routes, and there's level crossings that don't work yet on some routes. And the answer to all of those is preservation crew is continuing as it has done for the past year. So work on issues such as those is going to continue, and we will be continuing with the process of running the preservation crew. So those will all be addressed in in due course. Are they coming with the 426 updates, the summer updates? No, they're not. They'll happen when they happen. Stay tuned to the roadmap streams and articles to figure out what order we're attacking the routes in.
Yeah, and I think as well we talk about the passengers being, or the rush hour passengers being available for the rush hour routes, and Bakerloo, Colne Arkin. It might be something again that Adam's team looks at, the preservation crew looks at in the future. And what do we add these to other lines as well? Do we add that functionality onto other lines? Does it make sense? If so, how do we get that all sorted? So that's kind of, I imagine, one of the things that will be kind of put onto his team's plate as and when this releases.
Yeah, I was talking to Adam about it this morning actually.
Right, for those of you who've joined late and have been going, what's the big announcement? Right, there are two announcements to be aware of, both of which are available on trainsimworld.com. Go and read those and then re-watch the stream, which will answer the questions that you have on those announcements. So this was never the stream on which we were going to announce things, JD. This
wasn't my fault. I was off last Friday, so.
Oh! In that case, I entirely take it back. I thought it was you.
No.
Who shall I blame? I'm going to blame Nat. She's not here to defend herself. That'll do.
She's in the chat.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I know. She'll burn me later. Okay, fine. Anyway, yes, the announcements were made on trainsimworld2.com, trainsimworld.com. Earlier this week. You can go and read them right now. No love for old Jen, Raphael. Rewind the last 15 minutes and listen back to it, because we covered old Jen there in quite a lot of detail. But When are these updates coming to the stores we all know and love? So whether you play on Steam or PlayStation or Xbox, the updates that you've seen this evening are coming alongside the Rush Hour update, which is happening later in the summer.
Yeah. And for people asking for a release date, we do not have that for you in this live stream today. We will be giving you a release date as and when we are fully confirmed that that is going to be the release date. So that will be in due course. Okay, some AOB questions. Just while we have everybody here, it feels like a good opportunity to just ask some other questions that we got put into our chat. So any new articles on Spirit of Steam? Sam, I'm going to throw that one to you.
Yeah, no, that's entirely on me. Let me see if I can turn that around soonish. So yeah, there will be one soon. The next article is about how we go about researching routes that no longer exist. And I've got some fascinating information on it. I just need to write it up. But I'm on holiday today and the rest of this week and all of this week, but somehow I'm still here. So
Never really leaves.
Yeah, not today.
Okay, cool. So do we have any plans to have a secondary roadmap so we can track bugs like we used to when there was a forum post coming in the main roadmap, or is that unfeasible?
For the same reasons we stopped listing bugs on the roadmap, they move too fast.
Yeah.
They are so they're so difficult to keep hold of through the development process, which is why we only talk about bugs when they hit release. So when we've got a bug fix that is coming out, that's when you'll know about it. We tried listing bugs on the roadmap, and it didn't work. It just didn't work, because the way that they're tracked internally, the way that they're worked on internally is such that it just evaporates like Kaiser flipping Soze. So you can't keep track of them enough to put it onto the roadmap. It was entirely unreliable, entirely unrealistic, and set expectations that we had absolutely no chance of fulfilling.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think it's a fair question. I've seen other sort of games companies do things like Trello boards to track bugs and things like that. I don't think we're quite at that stage yet. I think we need to do a little bit of work internally to kind of iron out some processes and stuff, and we're a way off of having kind of a public facing bug backlog, let's say. But yeah, we do make sure that we
it would use half the internet.
Yeah. We do. The thing is, when you do report the bugs, we do make sure that they are logged and that they are put into a big old spreadsheet that then gets prioritized against based on lots of different factors that we're not going to bore you with tonight.
Now, Trello is the big thing in road mappage.
Yeah.
Really. If only I'd suggested we use Trello from the get-go that was shot down.
I wasn't there, Sam.
No, you weren't.
I would have backed you.
I'm not pinning that one on you or Matt. I know exactly who shot it down.
I would have backed you. Okay, so will we consider doing more themed route bundles, such as one for like high-speed routes, either with existing routes or future routes? I don't know if there's anybody in here that would be able to answer that one, but I guess the answer is never say never. I don't quite know at this stage.
That's the right answer.
Don't think there's any current plans, but it seems like a decent idea. So we see it in things like TS 2021. So why not do something similar here? No current plans though.
Kaka PP, I think you're asking when does Rush Hour come out? Not for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Fizzbin, you snarky so and so. Go and have a look at the news page on whatever platform you play on. Scroll back over the last 6 months and you'll see just how many bug fixes have been released.
Yes.
And it's hundreds.
Particularly, I think the one in May. There's one in May which is just I think it's about 300 or so in one go. I can't remember what day it was. It was just before Hamburg Lübeck launched.
We'll take the criticism that comes to us, and yeah, there are bugs that we haven't got to, but to say we don't fix bugs is entirely unfair.
Yeah. Speaking of Hamburg Lübeck, actually, what did we learn from Hamburg Lübeck? Bearing in mind some of the conversations we've had about reused Dostos, things like that. What is it? We've done a bit of work internally. Matt, what have we learned from doing things like Hamburg Lübeck?
So I mean, we've been doing a review process internally to try and understand what we can do better, and part of it is down to how we spec a project, not undervaluing or trivializing putting the wrong stock in a pack, and separately to that, it's also about what the process is where we find bugs. Do we find all of the bugs? Because having the wrong dostos is something that's obviously upset a group of the user base, quite rightly. But actually, the fact that things like PZB didn't work, that's terrible. And there's just no reason, no excuse for that. So it's a matter of looking. So on that front, it's the QA team are going through redefining their processes, because actually PZB was tested a number of times, as it turned out, but as it turned out, the people that tested it didn't know what they didn't know, and that's become as you start testing more complex things, if it's just can you get this train from A to B, then anyone can test that. But if it's can you test a complex safety system, we need to actually have almost a certification process internally of, do we know this person can test it properly, and then and track that. So that's one of the things that we're going to put in place for that, and there's already somebody been hired actually to look after that process. And then the other thing is, when we review bugs, it's just being really much more strict about what bugs are there and what bugs need to go out, and might mean that just needs to be delayed to resolve those bugs. We just need to be more strict. And actually, we already did a bunch of those enhanced processes for Cathcart, and I think everyone's found that to be significantly more bug-free. So it's sort of like a first step. We have more room to go. We know this is not the end of the process, and there are more steps that need to be covered as well. But we've been taking a long, hard look at everything and trying to work out what we can do to improve this.
I've got a couple of questions relating to the Unreal update that's coming. Willpoint asks, is the Unreal Engine update likely to cause new problems with existing routes? Or has it caused? And I already know that it has in a few places.
Honestly, I can't even remember at this point. There's been, we've had all sorts of problems with textures. We've had problems with materials. We found that the Series X loaded all of a sudden incredibly slowly, so everything loaded really blurry, and it took about 30 to 40 seconds to finish loading. We've fixed that now. So has it caused us problems in the dev process? Yeah, absolutely. It's no engine upgrade goes smoothly. When you upgrade your core engine for a game, you're not just changing the DLLs you reference, you are moving your house to a different set of foundations. There will be cracks. Now what we've been trying to do is be more thorough about finding those cracks and resolving them. So my hope is that you should find that the game runs smoothly and everything looks and sounds fantastic.
The follow-up to that was, we've said in the FAQ that all the existing routes will be available from the get-go when the update comes out. Is that still accurate?
Yes. All the routes have been recooked for 26 bugs. One of the things that Adam's team has actually been doing is resolving the issues as the QA team find them on the preserved content routes. And going through and resolving those. They've also been taking the opportunity to fix anything related to it as they go through it. But effectively, they've already been doing a lot of that. And actually, the main teams have been helping with that as well. When they have a pause for some reason on the main rush hour work they're doing. So there's been a lot of effort put into finding and fixing issues as they've come up on the older content.
Awesome. Okay. Any more questions that anyone wants to take
I'm
straight
done.
away? Are we good for? I think it's been a bit of a mammoth stream, and thanks very much to Matt and to Sam for taking the time out. Obviously, Sam's meant to be on holiday as well, which is
Won't be the last one. We'll be doing more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, really important to know that if anybody's interested in the rush hour bits and pieces, we will, of course, be doing preview streams on all of the 3 routes, maybe multiple preview streams on each of the routes. So you'll be able to ask any questions you've got about specific routes there, and we'll be able to give you a little bit of a showcase of what we've been working on as well. So again, we're not going to make you go in blind. We're going to give you a pretty good indication of what it is that you'll be getting with rush hour, or if you choose to go for the routes, or choose to purchase the routes separately. summarising this stream is going to be quite challenging. There are quite a few things that we've touched on today. I would really recommend that if you've come in part way through, or you've seen bits of it but you've not really been necessarily paying attention, rewatch it. There's some really good topics that we've covered tonight, some quite controversial topics. We've tried not to shy away from any of the bigger hot questions that are going on. But if we have, then please just give us a shout. We'll do another one of these moving forward as well. But all of the information about all of the things that we've talked about in this live stream are available on the website. Please take a look through if you've not already, because there's a lot of information there, lots of FAQ information as well that will hopefully give you answers to any questions that you might have. And again, if you're not getting those answers, let us know, and we will try and work on those FAQs so that you've got that information moving forward.
Yeah,
but
look, you might not always like the answer, right? But we're not going to avoid a question simply because we know you're not going to like the answer.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. Brilliant. Well, yeah. Trying to sum it up. Take a look at the website. Really, lots of stuff in there. Lots of rush hour bits. Lots of things about Epic Store. And again, there will be some more information coming on Epic next week. We'll be launching that with a free week on Thursday with all of the bits and pieces that you've seen. Again, if you're a little bit confused about what is included and what isn't included, recommend you rewatch that kind of segment where we were talking about the core update and the Epic update as well. But yeah, we've been doing this for 2 hours. I think we're all a little bit knackered. Let's call it an evening there. Thanks very much everybody for watching. We hope you appreciate thanks for your questions first and foremost. It's great to have so many suggestions for questions. We hope we've been able to do them justice with our answers, and we'll be back next week. The RFTV or the Railfan TV schedule will be published hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully we won't have any announcement streams next week, but we'll be back with you next week. I think Tuesday's the first stream next week, and we're doing a roadmap, so that'll always be fun. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and from all of us here at Dovetail, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye.
Cheerio.